ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده سبحان الله بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. I go by the name of Amir Junaid Muhadith, formerly known as Loon from Bad Boy Records. Before I start, I would like to thank the people that invited me. Because when we don't thank the people, we don't thank Allah. It's the first time I've ever did a talk for sisters only, so you have to truly bear with me. And I ask that we all fear Allah. My story starts way before the music business of how I entered into the fold of Islam. I was born and raised in New York City in Harlem, a place that was infested by crime, drugs, and violence. I spent the majority of my life being inspired and influenced by the people within my community who indulged in these activities in regards of crime, drugs, and violence. And growing up, I never was inspired by music artists. I never was inspired by athletes, anything of this nature. I was truly inspired by the people, like I said, in my community who indulged in all these negative activities. And one of the ways I was able to cope with the mental aspect of dealing with this harsh reality was my ability to write. I wasn't, very successful in school. I didn't have the greatest scholastic career. Wasn't good at math. I knew how to count money, but I wasn't good at math. And writing just happened to be one of my strongest abilities. So what I did, I used to write a diary. I used to write a diary every day to help me suffice some of the issues I used to deal with growing up in this environment. And by writing down some of the things that took place in my life that, contribute to my struggle and live in this environment, basically gave me the means of getting by. Because in the streets where a lot of people don't understand, and I don't think that any sisters have to deal with these matters, but for men, we conduct ourselves a certain way. When we amongst each other, when we amongst our peers, we try to mask some of the joy and some of the joyful things that we have in our heart by walking around with this face that looks like we always angry. I call it the poker face. It's almost like you don't want nobody to ever see your hand. And basically what the writing did for me, it enabled me to be able to express some of the things that I kept concealed in my heart by applying it to paper. And then as time went by, that method started to get old, so I started to use my imagination. I would include my imagination in some of the writings just in order to further get by some of the matters that were plaguing my heart at the time, dealing with this harsh reality. And then the next phase after that was writing songs. So I remember one day I got into an issue with the law, of course, and happened to be about a car that I borrowed. Didn't belong to me, but I borrowed it. And it was a brother who I was friends with at the time, still friends to this day. I remember him telling me very firmly, like, yo, don't mess with that car. Like, why you getting in that car? Like, you got better stuff to do, man. Leave that car alone. And I was like, nah, just gonna go around the corner. I ain't gonna go too far. I'm just gonna go see how it runs. Wallahi, I never made it to the corner. Police pulled me over, and eventually they arrested me for driving in a borrowed car. And what was so funny is the same brother who told me not to get in the car, he was my partner at the time when we were doing what we were doing in the streets. And he came to pick me up from the precinct. to bail me out. And when he came, the first thing he did was start reciting some of the stuff that was in my book. So of course I was very shy about this, because this was, my private thoughts. This is private stuff to me, the stuff I never shared with anybody. And when he started reciting some of the stuff to me in my book, I got very, very shy, bashful. So he was like, yo, instead of discouraging me, basically, he encouraged me. He said, yo, you should really pursue this stuff. Like, this is serious. I didn't even know you had this type of stuff on your mind. I didn't even know you wrote like this. And I was like, appreciate it. Can I get my book? I just wanted my book back. I was very, very, shy about him reciting some of my personal stuff. But later down the road, I did take his advice. I continued writing songs, and I started to continue, using my imagination, in accordance to things that were really happening to my life. It was a nice little gumbo. It makes really good. And wallahi, I made it in the music business. Just to make a long story short, I made it in the music business. And before I even became an artist, I was a writer. I was known to be a writer. I was more successful as a writer. I wrote maybe over 52 top 10 hits. And I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all never seen me in 52 videos, but I contribute to a lot of big records outside of the songs that I was known for performing. And basically, I had what you call sincere intentions coming into this business. And I think that a lot of artists share the same thing. We come into the business with a sincere intention of just maybe doing some simple things that might make things better just in our immediate circle. Like, for one, everyone wants to help their mom, no matter what it is. Whatever you achieve in life, the first person you think of is like your parents or the people that take care of you. You want to make things easy for them. My grandmother raised me. She was a beautician for over 40 years. So, I watched her stand on her feet for hours doing hair. And she fed all of us by this trade. So of course my intention was to make things better for her, make things better for my mom, make sure my sisters make it through school, all these good intentions. But what a lot of people don't understand is the lifestyle that comes with the music. And no matter how sincere your intentions are, you can't have one without the other. But one thing about me, when I entered the business, I never wanted to expose the reality of the lifestyle I was living in the streets. So I chose a more subtle approach. I targeted the female audience. Being that my family consists of many, many women, either two things was going to happen in my life. I was either going to end up, jumping double dutch with the girls or protecting the girls from people who bothering them playing double dutch. I chose option 2. I chose to protect the women. Muslim? I said, yes, I want to be a Muslim. Tell me what I have to do to be a Muslim. So he said, it's simple. Just, put your finger. He said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah. So I repeated these words, and I'm standing there still with my finger up, looking at him like, that's it? I had to